Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It has been a couple of weeks due to various reasons. I've been on holiday and then I was hungover. So
Yeah, none of them
Liam's
are
been
my
ready to
fault.
go. Liam's been ready to go for ages, but
I've
sadly,
forgotten what
I've
this
caused a
episode
lot.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to read over my notes.
Wow. To be fair, it's not forgettable, but it's not the most memorable, I'd say.
If there was an episode that I was like, I can't believe we can't talk about it straight away, it wouldn't necessarily be this one. I'd be sad
No.
about, you know?
Yes, yeah, I think that's fair. For those of you that are new, this is the video series where we watch Doctor Who episodes. We've seen them all before, so we're just
We've
re-reviewing
seen it
them.
all
We
before.
have seen it all before, literally. We're reviewing them to see if our opinions have changed from what they were first of all, and also because most episodes are pretty fun. And, it's nice and fun to
Sometimes they
revisit
do
things.
change.
And sometimes our
It's been
opinions do
known,
change.
for
It
better or
has happened
worse, but
before.
they do change.
It certainly has happened. So we started with series one back in 2005. Or series one was in 2005. We
We've
started
been
this
doing this for
solo.
18
Yeah.
years.
We've only been doing this for a couple of years. We've now all the way. We've zoomed through to 2012 still at the minute.
2012, yeah.
2012 series 7A.
Yes.
That's what it was, isn't it? Series 7, the first half of Series 7, which was 2012, still with Matt Smith and Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill as the Doctor, Amy and Rory. This week is episode 2 of Series 7, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, written by, I believe, a Mr. Chris Chibnall.
Indeed.
Oh boy, I bet it's
2.
Terrible. It's ruined it. No, it's fine.
Doctor?
He's ruined it. He's ruined the show. No, he's not. He's not. He really hasn't. If anything, he made it better, judging by how highly the BBC regard the show. But yes, this sees the Doctor getting together a gang. Oh, I'm sure Chibnall won't use that again. To find out why a mysterious spaceship is flying towards Earth in the future. Do they give a year?
I think they do at the very start. It does have a year, but I forgot what it was. But it is like far off future. Let me just have a look.
Because the Indian Space Agency are tracking the
2367.
Oh, that is far in the future. Okay,
far future.
Yes, in the far future, he pulls together this gang. He's got to find out what this spaceship is. And would you guess? Take a guess at what's on this spaceship.
A town called Mercy.
No.
Lizards.
Big lizards.
With the angels? Daleks? Oh, the other thing. Okay.
The big lizards. The actual thing. The
dinosaurs.
Lizards. It's the dinosaurs. And the Doctor just has to stop the thing crashing to Earth, save the dinosaurs. There's a nasty old man there that's like, I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer. And then he does.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Literally. There's also a couple of robots there as well, which I'm sure we will come on to in the near future. What did you think of the episode as a whole?
I really liked it. I had a lot of fun. The things that I thought were going to annoy me didn't annoy me as much, but only because they weren't in it as much as I thought they were. But yeah, I think it was a nice kind. There's some great character stuff in there. Obviously, the titular dinosaurs on a spaceship, I think, were quite fun and well realized for the most part. F in the chat for Tracy in advance. Tracy. Yeah, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the villain of the week. For better or worse, I guess. And yeah, there were some unexpected kind of, they really are setting up the Ponds leaving here that I'd kind of forgotten about as well. So there is some proper substance beyond just as dinosaurs on a spaceship. But don't get me wrong, most of it is just, it's a fun dinosaurs on a spaceship episode. And I think it succeeds in achieving that. There's a few additions and unexpected surprises and cameos in there for the lore Doctor Who fans. There's also, I think, something that can appeal to the casual watchers as well. They might just be like, I like dinosaurs, let's watch this. And obviously the introduction of Rory's dad and everything. So there's a lot of memorable stuff about it to enjoy, I think. I do prefer Sam of the Daleks, I would say, but this was still another kind of solid fun entry. He's trying to do something a bit different, as was the whole thing with part 1 of series 7. I think it succeeds in what it's trying to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I did like this one. I think it's not necessarily a filler episode because there are some nice moments in here, but it's definitely not one that you're like, oh yeah, you must watch this. It's very much like, I'll put it on if I feel like it. I wouldn't say it's definitely not the pinnacle of Doctor Who, but
No.
in no way is it like the worst episode ever.
I'd only be like, you have to watch this if you've never seen it before.
Oh yeah, exactly. But
Other
then
than
that's the whole show. If you've never seen it before, all the episodes you have to watch, so it's fine.
Okay, classic Who. You've seen every
Hey,
episode of classic
okay.
Who. Then you must. I must.
Yes, I have seen it. If you've seen one, you've seen them all.
So you don't need to watch every single one.
God, no, not classic Who. Definitely, I don't want to
Not
put
yet,
anyone through that.
but soon.
I'm sorry.
We will do a few stories at some point.
We'll have to. It will come.
Yeah.
It will come. So as always, we do 3 positives and 3 negatives, or at least we try to. It's been so long, I can't remember whose turn it is, but you can go first.
Thanks. That's nice.
You're welcome.
Positives. Okay. Brian, obviously.
Yep, he's my
first.
first.
My positive. What a man.
Yeah.
What a man.
Yep.
I love that they finally got Mark Williams, Father Brown himself, in Doctor Who. Although I think Father Brown started a couple years after this, but still, shut up. But yeah, we got the Weasley dad in Doctor Who at long last, and he's great and wholesome. This is exactly the kind of character that Chibnall is just amazing at writing. So it's not a surprise that
he's Graham. He's Graham version 1.
Basically, yeah. And we love him for it. He's great. He is Graham. He is Dan. He is all these white men we love, middle-aged white men that we love. I intend on being a middle-aged white man people love one day. But for now, I'm this.
I'm a mid-20s man that people hate.
Everyone hates online, yes. But still, I love Brian. He's great. He's a stereotypical dad, but he's also not, and I just think it really works. And Mark Williams plays him so well. There are some comedic moments with him, like his golf balls, but I've forgotten the kind of like, oh, that's a kind of sweet moment, like when Roy patches him up. It's like, there's a real heart to him as well, and obviously there's a lot more to that in The Power of Three, and the unreleased PS scene after the Angels Take Manhattan and stuff. But I think this is a great introduction to him. It is cool to flesh out Rory's family while we still can. And yeah, he's a lot of fun. I liked the brief snippets we got of his relationship with Amy near the start as well, but it is kind of mainly a story about him and Rory's relationship, and he was great. I love just how quickly he adapts to this world ride, probably because the episode's 45 minutes long.
Needs him to.
And it's kind of boring to see people again and again just have to get used to this. Cut straight to the chase, it makes sense. And yeah, I do like his immediate reaction to it. He just starts shouting at them, and oh yeah, sure, why not? Why can't this just be a weird spaceship and dinosaurs and shit? But by the end, he's kind of getting a bit more in tune with it. Working out, oh, me and Rory can fly this thing. Coincidental, but believable. And that's kind of that sets it up to really get into the whole cube mystery in The Power of Three in a few episodes time as well. And obviously his little arc of he didn't really travel anywhere, but now after this, you see him go to all sorts of places. And we'll get on to that postcard at the end in a minute. But yeah, I really, really love Brian. He's so much fun. I think he has some great, comedic moments, but also I think there's a lot of heart to his character, and Mark Williams plays him very well. And Chris Chibnall excels at writing those characters. So of course we love him.
Yep, I think that's fair. He definitely is a standout. I think of this episode, if not the whole of at least the first half of Series 7, if not the whole of Series 7. Which says a lot considering he's only in 2 episodes. But he's great, he's great in this. He's great in the one where he comes back and he sits and watches a cube for 23 days straight or something in the town.
Doesn't time fly when it's just you and your thoughts? Oh, Brian.
Yeah. So yeah, he's great. He's great in this. He adapts so quickly with his travel trowel and everything else, and how
his
he's
toxic masculinity.
And where he's like, oh, are those herrings or whatever it is? And they're like, yeah,
those kestrels. Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. So I think he really he just gets on board. There's the initial oh my god, what's going on? But then as soon as he's fully aware, it's great, which I think is kind of he's Jackie Tyler-esque, especially with how he's taken. But I think there's more he embraces it more than she does, at least straight off the bat.
You can
Which
see
I
where
think is,
Rory kind of gets it from in the end.
yes, definitely. And yeah, I think he's great, and he's a great actor, and I think it's a real scoop to get him on this. And I would love for him to return. I think him and Graham would get on, funnily enough, like a house on fire, and Dan, the three of them in a room.
Group at the end of Power the Doctor so well.
He certainly would. And you never know. Maybe one day in the future, he's still a fairly well-known actor.
If they ever cancel Father Brown, then
yeah, that's true. You never know. He won't be back doing any more Harry Potter films for the foreseeable future, so it doesn't matter. So just get him on. No one does them anymore. No. But yes, he's my first positive as well. So what's your second?
Boek. Let's have a look. What did I put? It was so long ago, like whole 2 days ago, whatever it was. I went for Solomon.
Same.
God's sake.
Oh,
where's the originality that we used to have?
I know, right? It's almost like there's only a few things we can say about this episode.
How dare you? I mean, we've kind of been on this wavelength for like a series and a half.
Basically the whole second half of series 6, we were finally tuned.
Yeah. So maybe this is just it. Maybe this is just it now.
Yeah.
We've peaked, but I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed him. I do think a lot of it is down to David Bradley's performance, rather than it being like this super complex, interesting character. And just spot the Harry Potter actor in this episode, basically.
He's very Walder Frey, I think, in this.
Yes,
it's that big vibes of creepy old man.
Yeah, so it was around the same time he would have started playing both those characters, so it makes sense. And he is worlds removed from William Hartnell, and then going on to be the first Doctor as well, and the poor innocent guy from Broadchurch who killed himself in series 1. Spoilers. Definitely innocent, but it just shows how great of an actor David Bradley is, and it was great to kind of see him pop up in this. Little did we know at the time just how ingrained in the Whoniverse he would soon become the year after.
I like to think that they saw this performance and went, we could get you in for other things.
He looks a lot like William Hartnell,
yeah.
Wait, isn't Mark writing something at a minute? Yes, he is. But he was literally in like the last episode of Doctor Who that aired, this man, and here we are talking about a performance he gave in Doctor Who 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's kind of nuts to think about. Like he's still alive and kicking in Doctor Who stuff, which is cool. Considering this isn't even the character he has played more of now.
No,
but I was really surprised at how much I liked Solomon as a villain and how much was kind of given to him in a short space of time. I like that he's just an arsehole, an irredeemable arsehole. Especially in an episode like this, I like that we'd focus on other things rather than trying to make this villain morally complex.
Trying to redeem him or something.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need that. And I think he absolutely deserved the fate he got. Fight me. He proved he was irredeemable because even at the end, he was still offering the Doctor, I can give you anything you desire. So he didn't learn a damn thing.
No.
But I like that about him a lot. And I do like how slimy he is. That line when he's like, I'll break you in with immense pleasure. Disgusting, but so well delivered. And like, oh, what an arsehole. So yeah, he was great. Just the whole style he was going for, and how he was characterized. It was really well done. I like that the Doctor can have a villain like that to really face off with one-to-one. I think he was the perfect kind of character to have that with. And the idea of his like hijacking this place, killing, genocide of the Silurians. That's what they should have called this episode.
Thousands of Silurians.
So he killed all of them ruthlessly just to get some dinosaurs that he couldn't even sell in the end. And he's obsessed with Nefertiti by that. And his occupation then aids into the idea that the Doctor's been like erasing himself from history a bit and going quiet and stuff because he wasn't on the database anymore. So I like that kind of little thread, just continuing that a bit. And yeah, he was a slime ball, but I think the episode benefits from having a villain like that. You still want, I guess, a baddie of sorts, because the robots are just the robots, aren't they? They're not really there. But I do like what they did with him in this, and David Bradley's performance was great, and him and Matt Smith bounced off together very, very well as hero versus villain. And yeah, a very satisfying end to his character as well. I do cheer whenever he screams Doctor and explodes. It's great. So yeah, a really great kind of one-off villain. There's not much more to him, obviously. And
No.
I'm sure if David Bradley didn't go on to play the first Doctor, Solomon probably would have had a big finished box set by now.
100%. Yeah.
But I can't wait to see how many people he killed when the Target novelization comes out in years to come.
That's true. Yeah.
But for now, I do appreciate him just being a run-of-the-mill kind of baddie you want to hate. But I don't think in this case that's a negative.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think gives me the vibes of he's what Captain Jack would have become if he never ran into the Doctor. Like, he just kept conning people.
Yeah.
It would eventually got into this state where he'd just be this sad old man that just is obsessed with just selling things on and getting money and not really doing anything with his life, so to speak. Even everything about what he's done is cheap. His spaceship, his robots, and it just sort of paints the picture of why even bother if this is if you're gonna be this no Max Capricorn-esque big villain with lots of money. It's just a man that's just obsessed with like trying to have the nice things, but then as soon as he can get profit out of it, he's like, no, I'll get rid of it. And that's why he just has nothing. And that's why ultimately he dies, because if he didn't cheap out on his robots, he probably could have survived. But
exactly,
never
he played
mind.
himself.
Yeah, I do really like him. He is just like, it's the whole, those kind of villain performances where they're just bad and they're just evil. It's like, they can be satisfying at times. And I think this is one of those cases where there was just no way out for him. There was no way he could be saved or redeemed. The Doctor just kills him. I'm like, fair enough. You've pissed him off. He's not he's not really in the mood he's been going around a long time and he's really sick of people like this now. And he's like, just fuck off.
He's killed, the Doctor's killed innocent people before. Like, why was Twitter in such a hoo-ha about him killing this guy? Like,
he's killed a lot of people. Let's not pretend he hasn't. Definitely didn't kill a whole planet, or kill a whole planet full of people. He didn't. Plot twist, he didn't actually kill
spoilers
people.
for
6 episodes
10,
time,
11 for 12 episodes time, whatever.
Oh god. But yeah, I really like him. I really like David Bradley as an actor, and I think I'm glad that he's in as the first Doctor. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're erasing William Hartnell or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but if you want new stuff with the first Doctor, this is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, so it's either that, like, they're erasing William Hartnell by using David Bradley and everything, or they don't include the first Doctor, or like, they're erasing William Hartnell by not including him. What is this? They've used all the clips of him they can. There's fuck all left in his clips.
Exactly.
Like, what are they going to do?
You can't remaster everything, I'm afraid.
No.
But I mean, it's going
AI takes over the world.
It's probably at a point where William Hartnell, or it's getting close to a point where David Bradley's been playing the Doctor longer than William Hartnell did, I suppose. I don't know how long his run was.
Well, his main run was 3 years with William Hartnell,
so longer than that then.
Been like
David
10 years.
Bradley, yeah. Well, David Bradley first appeared in what, Twice Upon a Time? Peter Capaldi's last episode.
Because he has a cameo in the Doctor Falls.
Yeah, but that's around the same time anyway. So I can't remember what year was that.
So that's like
17.
6 years.
So he's already played him longer. So hey, what can you do? Never mind. Soz. Sorry, you've got your documentary. What else do you want?
Oh,
sorry,
you ruined my Doctor completely.
Docudrama. Take the money.
To an extent, I get where people are coming from, but also like, do you not want that legacy to endure? I don't know.
It's fair, because people have been fan casting. We're getting on tangent.
It could have been worse. It could have been played by David Tennant. Let's be honest. David Tennant as the first Doctor.
Could you? Oh, imagine that. But people have been calling for Sean Pertwee to be playing his dad for like since John Pertwee died. So
and Sean Pertwee's like, I don't want to leave me alone.
Exactly.
And that's why it hasn't happened.
So it's it's the whole thing where you can't satisfy fans. They'll want something, and then when it happens, it's like, I can't believe you've done this. So
basically.
Anyway, your third positive.
Oh yeah, we've been positive, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I've actually gone for the Doctor and the Pond's relationship in this.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. It's again. I think it was more so because I'd kind of forgotten that they were still kind of setting up their exit in this one, and the idea of them kind of growing apart a bit and spending a bit less time in each other's company. Obviously, the Ponds have kind of been living on their own since the God Complex, and the Doctor's kind of been showing up every now and again. And I think she mentioned like it's been 10 months this time or something since the last time they'd seen each other. The idea of, that little conversation him and Amy have about, oh, you'll be there till the end of me, or vice versa. Then they look into the camera like, oh yes, we know they're leaving. Yes,
everything
yes.
was fine until it wasn't.
It literally is that.
Oh yeah.
So yes, the Doctor was happy Mr. Incredible, and then Amy was just the black and white scarred Mr. Incredible. So yes, I really enjoyed them kind of really sowing the seeds for that, which continues onwards into the next one, where Amy's kind of questioning what the Doctor would become when he is on his own without a companion for so long. And obviously the Power of Three is very much about addressing, Amy and Roy need to choose what life they want to live. And then we have the Angel State Manhattan,
they don't get a choice.
The choice is made for them in a way, in a big way. So yes, I'd kind of forgotten that they were even planting some of those seeds this early. That Amy and Rory are getting a bit older now, and they're not really traveling. They haven't been traveling full time with him for a very long time. And that's why the Doctor kind of is still filling the gaps by, making these gangs and finding other random friends across the universe and stuff. So I thought that was, a nice bit of setup for their impending departure. And I just think it's a very real thing as well for them to address. Like sometimes, there are going to be companions who will just grow apart, and sometimes the Doctor might grow apart from his companions. Sometimes, like the Doctor and Clara, they weren't meant to be together for very long. That's a fire that burns bright, but briefly, because of how kind of toxic their love for each other kind of becomes. And this is kind of, life moves on, life goes on. And I quite like how very adult a theme that might be to instill in, kids watching this. Like sometimes, your best friend in school might not be your best friend anymore. Shout out to Kieran Cooper, who I haven't spoken to in 15 years. Nice. We were like that in year 4. What happened, man? But yeah, I just think it's an interesting kind of dynamic to introduce to a Doctor and companion kind of thing, especially when us at the time watching this know that Amy Roy will be leaving. You might think, oh, okay, so they're just going to be like, you know what, this isn't for us anymore.
Yeah.
And then the Weeping Angels, they're like, hello. So yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of the Doctor and Amy and Roy's relationship. And it says it all in that last little bit where Brian's watching Earth, Amy and Roy are looking out, and he's looking at them like, oh shit, yeah, this is coming to an end. It's quite sad, bittersweet, but I really enjoyed that. It brings some kind of real emotional levity to what's like an all wacky dinosaur episode.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Not one of my positives, but it's a fair point. Speaking of emotional in this episode, my third one is Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor. How furious he is, how quietly furious he is at Solomon.
Scary,
especially.
yeah.
I think it's just he has this plan and he just shows no remorse. He doesn't even be like, look, he doesn't even attempt to say, I'll save you if you quit this. He's just like, see you later, mate, and just gets rid of them. Just like doesn't second guess. His plan from the outset is, I'm going to kill this man. I'm not going to get all these dinosaurs on my TARDIS and let him leave. I'm going to kill this man on purpose. And I think it's just, considering considering he didn't do much, he just stole some dinosaurs. Then I remembered, well, actually, he killed a few Silurians.
A few, just a few.
Oh yeah, but it's very much like he just decides straight away, like, nah, you're not worth it. And there's the whole element of, and it'll play into the next episode of how can he have that much power? How can he, the whole fact of, if you're a god, how can you decide who lives and who dies? That shouldn't be
who tells your story.
Yeah, exactly, and that's. That plays into the next sort of episode as well, into how he effectively goes to do the same thing to the scientist man, because he doesn't really tell anyone his plan for this episode. He just sort of does it himself quietly.
Yeah, this is now an 11 who has been on his own for ages and is used to that.
Yeah, and I like that. I think he at times maybe he plays up the fun, quirky aspect of the Doctor in this episode. I don't know whether that was an acting or a writing choice, just so that it makes the darker side seem like darker. But either way, it successfully makes the dark side seem darker, and it seems harsh, considering we've had these moments where Matt Smith has been an angry Doctor. You think of Good Man Goes to War, but he's never been this extreme where he just literally quietly kills someone without even bringing up the question to the audience or even to his crew.
Yeah, the goofiness is almost like Ross, I'm fine energy.
Yeah.
He's kind of putting that up, and it's like he's obviously not okay, and I think he's like super
he's overdoing it for a
exaggerating
point.
that. Because like, I've forgotten how to be like this around Amy and Rory. So I guess was I like this? Ooh, look how crazy I am.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I like it all. I think it all works really well. Obviously, again, Matt Smith is great, as he always is. And his acting in the next episode will also be excellent, I'm sure. Because I think there's a couple of good moments in that one, and then especially in Angels Take Manhattan, he'll kick in a bit more as well.
We've still got the Rings of Back-O-Ten speech to come.
Oh
We've
yeah,
still got his regeneration to come.
Oh, so much. So have you got any additional positives?
I do. Well, Matt Smith's kind of an unspoken one, obviously. The dinosaurs. I like dinosaurs. I'm a simple man. I see dinosaurs I enjoy.
I'm a simple man with simple tastes.
Dinosaurs. So yeah, I thought I liked the kind of mix of practical effects with some CGI models, stuff like that. Some work better than others, but this episode's 11 years old.
True.
But yeah, like the physical, I think is it a T-Rex or something that Riddell tries to step over and stuff. I'm like, oh, that does actually look a bit mean. And obviously Tracy, poor old Tracy, the tragedy of Tracy. That was very sad, but I did like that they still had like a goofy, fun dinosaur in there, even though in reality it probably would have torn them to shreds. But
100%.
Or are they herbivores? I can't.
Triceratops are herbivores, but it still would have stepped
the golf ball thing.
Yeah.
It probably would have stabbed them.
Definitely would have impaled Arthur Weasley with his.
Look, I've been impaled. Yeah, probably.
Literally.
So there's that. And I did like the gang. I say the gang, but it's only like 2 additional characters really, other than Brian. But we've talked about Brian already. Particularly Nefertiti, I enjoyed. I thought her costume was really cool. That's just because I like Egyptology, probably. But I thought she did a pretty good job with the stuff she was given. I like the idea that she was like the most precious cargo on board in the end, because of her whole history of how she disappears and no one knows how she died and stuff, I guess.
Not the TARDIS. Not the TARDIS. That wasn't.
Not the TARDIS. No, we know what happens to the TARDIS. It ends up on Trenzalore. We don't know Nefertiti's end goal and destination.
No, it's true.
It turns out she's banging the guy from Sherlock. Oh, what a choice she made there. But yeah, I did very much enjoy her performance, and to bring in like a historical figure like Nefertiti in a very different kind of way to include a historical character in an episode like this, I thought worked quite well to bring a character from one time period who's kind of an iconic thing and then bring them into a completely different time zone. It's not something they really play with that much. They normally just do like, this is a historical setting where this person's here. So I like that they changed that up. And then John Riddell, he is a man from his time, with his views. And I certainly would have probably hated him a lot more if it wasn't like, oh, it's the guy from Sherlock. Hey, it's the Strahd. Hey, I know you, buddy.
He's played well. He's most of the.
He's played well.
He's played well.
He shouldn't be as charming as he is, but that's just because the actor's good at that part. And yeah, I didn't. I don't know why the Doctor's friends with him, to be honest.
No.
But it is what it is. He's made some choices in his.
The Doctor's secretly sexist on his spare time. That's what it is.
Yes, probably must be that. Yes, wait until he finds out about the timeless child, and that used to be a whole lot of women. But yes, it is what it is. But I still somehow enjoyed the character anyway. But yeah, I enjoyed the idea of like the Doctor having his own little gang. I've always hated that I'm always like, I've never had a gang before. I'm like, Good Man Goes to War, Journey's End. Are you forgetting all of this? But fine, whatever. A gang in this way, I guess you throw
a traveling
and obviously,
gang.
and the fact that idea is kind of instilled with him as his coping mechanism when Amy and Rory aren't there, sets up the snowmen where he finds a gang for himself again when he loses Amy and Rory. So it's all kind of layered in there, which I do enjoy. So yeah, I liked all the characters in this one for the most part.
My other ones are just I really like the dynamic between Brian, Rory, and the Doctor. I think especially when on that beach, that's just a load of fun. I really enjoy that. And then also the music works quite well as well at times in this one. There's little bits when the Silurians appear on the screen. It very much calls back to their episode in series 5 with the musical notes, which I quite like. And yeah, when they're saving the day and the music builds up and it's all cliche but nice. I like the music from this series from most. There's not been a bad piece of music yet, so all enjoyable stuff. However, we need to go on to the negatives of this episode. What is your first one?
That Mitchell and Webb look.
Yep, that's fair. That's my second one. But yeah,
I mean, I've put the robot's personality because the robots themselves look cool, and I really like how they look.
Yep.
And I like when they speak, their faces flash up red and stuff. That's great. I just think they would have been better if they didn't say a word and just kind of like slave robots almost.
Yeah.
Or were voiced by Mitchell and Webb, but were sinister, and it would be kind of an interesting thing because most people watch this aren't going to have a fucking clue who those voices are.
No.
So it's it's for the 5% of people being like, it's them.
It's those from Peep Show.
Unfortunately, I am not 6 years old, so I didn't really find them funny and enjoyable. I will say they're in it a lot less than I remembered them being in it.
Yes.
So it wasn't too bad. But when they are doing their thing, I'm like, move on, please. When they're going after Tracy as he's running away with the film, shut up. Even Solomon's like, shut up.
Where he used to be faster. So I don't care.
At least they make a point of like, I got them cheap. They are shit robots.
Yes,
and they are. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that they're shit robots. In an episode where you have dinosaurs running about and stuff, and Solomon, who is a decent enough villain on his own anyway, I think you could have just had silent robot companions if you needed him to have robots at all.
I wouldn't necessarily say you needed them because they don't. All they do is they take the Doctor and Rory O'Brien away to start with, but it's not.
Solomon could have just shot Tracy himself. He didn't need to get the robots to do it.
Yeah, and they would have found Solomon anyway because Amy and FTE and Riddell had already found the spaceship and they already figured it all out, so they didn't need the robots to take him there. They could have just like, hi, help me, please. But
so they're just kind of there, and I don't think even in the final episode, I don't think there's that much of them anyway that it's like they absolutely need to be in here.
No.
So, no offense to Robert Webb and David Mitchell, because I'm sure they had fun recording those voices. And particularly David Mitchell, because he gets all the lines. Robert Webb must have been busy that day with his 2 lines. But obviously this is very much a taste and age thing as to whether or not you find the robots funny or whatever. But for me, I'm just like, they just bring the episode to a grinding halt. When Rory's having an argument with them, I'm like, please just move on to something else. Anything else. Bring the absorber off back. Just do anything else. So it's more so like how they're characterized rather than like the look of them or anything. Because I do think they look great. And like you see them in like the Doctor Who experience and stuff. I'm like, oh, they look really cool. Unfortunately, they do end up speaking and saying the words that were written for them. So not my favorite thing. Not as bad as I thought they were going to be. I really thought I was going to utterly despise them, but that's only because they weren't in it as much as I remembered. So that's fine, I guess. But they were still there and a bit annoying. So there you go.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think you could have just put more, if you wanted something for the kids to enjoy or for kids to have fun with, put in a baby dinosaur for somebody to play with. I don't think you need these robots being like effectively the child entertainers for the episode.
We didn't need another gadget. Like, just stop.
No, we didn't. We did not. Unfortunately, we got it though. But yeah, they're one of my negatives. They look good, but they're just a bit naff. I
was going to say me, but I look at them every day. I'm like, no. Self-gratification.
But yeah, they're just not. They're just. They don't serve a purpose really. They don't need to be in the episode because everything that they
didn't even make toys of them. Like, it's just a complete
they when they shoot Brian, you could just have Solomon shoot Brian. He could shoot anyone. I get it. Maybe he's like, he doesn't want to get his hands dirty or whatever. But then have them be silent or something, and then just you don't need them to be voiced. But I guess they just wanted to to be able to announce guest casting and be like, oh, look who's going to be in it. But I don't know. Maybe it was a higher.
It'd be better if they went football, all the football. It's gonna move.
It will move. Yeah, that would be hilarious. I love that, but sadly not.
Dinosaurs, all the dinosaurs.
I have to make an edit of that now. Just the robots talking that. Oh god. Your second negative.
What is my second negative? That was like the only real issue I really had. To be honest. In a way, they kind of framed the Indian Space Agency as like villains in the episode. I'm kind of like, I'm kind of torn on it because on one hand, of course, that would be how it is, and they're going to put Earth safety first if they're not getting any contact from them and giving them all these chances. Yeah. But also, once you've locked the missiles on, you can't turn them off. How dumb is that? How idiotic are you? So maybe there's some hidden backstory to her, and she actually just wanted this to happen for some reason in the target mobilization. They will explain this, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's why she was like, "Oh, they're already locked on." Like, that's just dumb. But they can't just turn the missiles off. Like, come on, they were far away. You could just turn them off. But whatever, it's a plot thing, I guess. They needed the ticking time bomb. But yeah, obviously they're not the villains because that's very much Solomon and the robots and whatever. But it did seem like it was framed in a way that you could absolutely categorically need to be judging these guys. And I'm like, I think it's more morally grey than that. I just don't think there was time in the episode to maybe explore that. You know, it very much just feels like Indian Space Agency. Sure, why not? Let's just set it there. That's going to be a thing in the future, apparently. And, you know, they didn't really do much more with it than surface level stuff, which is a shame for poor Zoe from Casualty in her little role this episode. But there you go.
Hey, she'll get a Big Finish series soon, I'm sure. It's only a matter of time. They're slowly taking everyone off the list. She's next.
It's true. Who just got one recently? Who did they announce? Oh, Mrs. Wormwood from.
Oh yeah, from Sarah Jane. She's coming back, isn't she?
Oh, ridiculous! What a queen!
what a ridiculous timeline we live in.
We'll need to cover Sarah Jane Adventures at some point. I've got an itching.
Oh, we will. Don't worry, I'm all keen for that. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it makes sense as an Indian Space Agency because like India has one of the largest like populations on the planet, so it makes sense that in 300 years' time they'll be in a position to be this, you know, high tech society that's capable of being one of the most, I guess, dominant space agencies on Earth, if not the dominant one. So. But
they have the authority to take action on that.
Most of all, it goes like to NASA and things like that. So to have it somewhere else, that's not. I like that. But I do get what you mean. They were kind of like, SAWS, we've launched the rockets now. Never mind. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. My second negative. Once again, it's an episode that's too horny. It's too horny. It's too much. Riddell and Nefertiti specifically, I think, are overdone with how keen they are to.
Are you saying the man who brought us the sex gas episode of Torchwood is too horny?
Maybe. You know, because even like the episode starts off on a horny foot as well, with Nefertiti basically trying to sexually harass.
Do you think you could just leave without me? Yeah.
And then obviously it implies that they get together at the end, which I'm fine with. If they wanted to just imply that, that's kind of fine. But I don't know. It's just always, especially because this is an episode with dinosaurs in it, and there's clearly an element to try and make it even more kid friendly with the robots. It's kind of
there's enough horns on Tracy. We don't need
more
horniness.
It just feels unnecessary, especially because you don't even necessarily need those characters in this episode anyway. To the extreme, you know, that they're in it. So I think for me, it's just you have to give them some personality, but they effectively just have the same personality. And that's a shame, really. It's just too horny. Leave it for Torchwood Chibnall. Maybe it's because he wasn't writing it anymore. Did Russell take it back for Children of Earth? And
and
the other one,
the bad one.
Maybe he wasn't writing it anymore, so he just needed to get it out some way. And then this was
because Miracle Day was the year before this. So.
Oh, there you go then.
Long
but yeah,
since run into the ground.
That's it. It's not like a main thing, but every time they just sort of did innuendos, it's like, oh, all right then. I guess we're doing this. It's fine. And just because it's acknowledged in the episode doesn't make it okay. Okay, thank you. What's your third negative?
This is very nitpicky, but the
Mhm.
postcard at the end with the wrong TARDIS on it
Mm.
drives me
No.
mad. Drives
Yeah.
me mad. That's the Eccleston and Tennant box. Like, are you implying something wider here? Is Tennant here again? Maybe.
No, Eccleston's returned.
Can you imagine? I hope the world shits on you.
Oh god.
But yeah, tiny little thing, obviously. So you
Mhm.
can tell I kind of enjoyed the episode when this is one of my
Yeah.
main negatives.
Mhm.
But it just drives me mad. Especially because it's the final shot of the episode. I think that's what really annoys me. Like, this is what they
Mhm.
leave you on, like, aha, and like, you're really doing that. It's like the Jodie Whittaker announcement video. She's walking into that same bloody image of that
Yeah.
TARDIS.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
delete it and put something else in. Like, surely you have other PNGs by now.
You must
But
have
apparently
another
not.
one. No.
Another one. So I like the idea of what it implies that Brian went with the Doctor to rescue all the dinosaurs and set them free and stuff. And then
Yeah, I kind of, it's strange that one because I don't know whether that's the Doctor supposed to be sending the postcard or Brian, because like in all the other ones Brian sends, he has a little picture of himself saying "I'm here," but he doesn't in that one.
Yeah,
because he's clearly added in the picture of himself saying "I'm here." So I'm like, well, if he was there for that,
there's simply no time to add him in.
clearly not. I mean, they got the wrong.
They spent too much time on the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's more so the fact that it's the final image of the episode is that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who's continuity is fucked. Let's be honest, anyway. But
how dare you?
Come on, you had all of 2012 to get that right. But there you go.
Yeah, never mind. My final negative is just some of the dinosaurs are a bit too bad for CGI.
Oh.
Sometimes they're not great. Like when the two ones come out of right at the start, when the two ones come out of the door, I'm like,
oh yeah.
That's not the best. And again, it's the whole it's the first time you see them. They're not great. I mean, dinosaurs I think work best when they're practical, and I think you see that with like Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. When they're practical dinosaurs, they work a lot better and they look a lot better.
The dying Tricey.
Yeah, and when they're CGI, they're just a bit, a bit naff.
I don't think they're not really there.
Exactly.
Can't believe these dinosaurs aren't really there.
Unacceptable. But it's fine. I can accept it. Then ironically, they don't get too much screen time as CGI creatures.
I wonder why that could be.
Oh yeah, maybe I'd have liked to see more dinosaurs.
About that.
I just wanted to see more dinosaurs because they don't really play the T-Rex off with anything, do they? He's just asleep.
Well, T-Rexes are overdone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because raptors definitely aren't.
What? Well, there might be a reason they had these raptors.
Oh, great! Love that. Did that puppet of that T-Rex not work, and that's why it's on the floor, just asleep?
I don't know.
That's what it was.
I'm talking about the raptors here.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, it's only a very small one, so I'm not too fussed about that one. Did you have any other negatives?
Did I? Let's find out. Yes, I did. It would have been faster just to run away from the robots than go on Tricey because he was slow as fuck. And when Amy finally phones Rory and be like, "Where are you? Let's do this." I'm like, "Oh, we've worked out what's going on." Why didn't you phone each other earlier to might find out where you were? Like, you could have done that at any point.
Too busy. They're just too busy. There's simply no time.
They were simply too busy. There was simply no time. But
no.
It was something I thought I'd note. But there you go.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair enough. Also, when the golf ball bounces off the wall, that's unnecessary.
Terrible. Cancel the show.
Well, because like he throws the golf ball, and then it takes like 5 minutes before you then see it hit the wall, so that the Triceratops like turns away. I was like, I don't think it was traveling for that long, unless they threw it.
I can't believe they didn't have Brian go. Oh, it's such a Brian thing to do.
It certainly is. But yeah, I've got another negatives, just slight nitpicks. I do want to give a shout out to you. Haven't got any plant matter in your trousers, do you? Just my ball.
Balls.
Excellent wordplay. Oh, actually, another negative is just the cliche. It's the doctor's here finally, only for them to be like, oh yeah, a medical doctor. I'm like, oh, how many times do they? Every like other episode, it's like, finally a doctor's arrived. I'm like, oh, they know who he is? No, they just think he's a medical doctor, and they get me every time. Every time I'm like, oh, who could this be? And it's like, oh, he just wanted somebody to fix his leg.
A doctor, have you come to take me away?
Yeah, exactly.
Calls himself the doctor of medicine. A scientist Oh, good.
It's just, at least that one kind of makes sense because he does know the Doctor.
And it's in the
just
Rusty
not at that
Davies
point.
era. So
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, that one does make sense. But no, Doctor. I was gonna say the Doctor Constantine guy from the Gas Mask ones, but then I realised that's a Moffat written episode. So
you can't stand the guy.
sorry, no, clearly. Sorry, Moffat, who definitely wrote this episode and definitely inserted that Doctor cliche.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, I don't. It's something that keeps happening, and I know it's funny. The whole point of the show is Doctor Who, so yeah. But it happens. I think there's something in the contract. There must be a clause that say they have to put that in at least once a series or the show. It's like the Daleks. They have to have a series.
You need a line like that in every series to put it in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's probably a contractual thing.
Yeah, definitely. Could you imagine? But no, that's it from me. Fun facts. I assume you've got
facts. You assume correctly. Let's have a look.
It's almost like we've been doing this for 2 years.
I know, right? Who'd have thought? Okie dokie. So this story is the first significant presence of dinosaurs in a story since 1974's Invasion of the Dinosaurs, John Purvis story. Now, you're probably wondering, wow, dinosaurs in 1974 probably looked terrible. You have no idea, my friends. Go and watch that story. They're awful.
God.
I think
they're just people in costumes. Like
probably would have looked better.
Like the Godzillas in over like tiny cities, just like that.
Oh, I wish. But as bad as you imagine it looks, yeah. Basically, there's a reason why we don't really see many references to that. But there you go. The Doctor claims to be a Sagittarius, probably. November 23rd, the day Doctor Who began in 1963, falls into this star sign.
There you go.
You get it?
That's smart. Nice.
It's the 50th anniversary at the end of this season. The kiss between the Doctor and Rory is the second same-sex kiss on the show, and the first to be initiated by the Doctor himself. The first was the kiss between the Doctor and Captain Jack in The Parting of the Ways. Matt Smith improvised the kiss during rehearsals, and it was added into the scene later on.
Oh, you get told off for doing that now?
Yeah, I too would make out with Arthur Darvill.
That's fair. Or Matt Smith.
Yeah, fair enough. The Doctor Who logo has a green hue and the texture of scales, unique for this episode.
How dare they?
How dare they change it up? At least this title sequence wasn't as bad as the Sun of the Dalek. It's still terrible, but it's not as bad. Mark Williams previously appeared in the 2009 Big Finish 5th Doctor audio, The Eternal Summer, as Maxwell Edison, a character that had previously and since only appeared in comics. Debuting in 1982, his characterization and relationship with various incarnations of the Doctor is very similar to that of Wilfred Mott. So I'm sure he's a very wholesome man. And he plays a wholesome man in this. So, typecast. Okay. The CGI models of the Raptors are the same ones used in the ITV show Primeval.
Yay! I knew they looked familiar.
We copy and pasted them to save money. So there you go.
Crossover confirmed. They're in the same universe.
Have the link. Yeah, I imagine Andrew Lee Potts was just off camera this entire episode.
He's there. He was waiting for a call. He knew they were doing it, and he was staring at his phone for like 3 hours. Like, come on, come on,
call me.
Oh God,
he'd be a good Doctor one day. One day, make it happen.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'm sure he's still relevant.
How dare you? Did he come to Swindon last year for Comic Con or something?
No, like last year. That was 5 years ago.
Oh shit!
God, time is fleeting. I think.
Oh God. Okay, fair enough.
Oh God.
Ignore me then. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
The robot costumes were remodeled from ones used in CBBC show Mission 2110. And by remodeled, I mean like they've added 2 extra panels and repainted a little bit.
You could have saved even more money by not doing that.
It's true. Just destroy them.
Yep.
With this story, Rory has become the only character to have travelled in the TARDIS with his own parent and child.
Ah.
Hooray. Keeping it in the family. I mean, did you know Mark Williams and David Bradley had both previously appeared in the Harry Potter film series?
I did not. I had no clue.
No, didn't think so.
Wow. Amazing.
Wow. Amazing. The idea to use dinosaurs in Doctor Who again had come from the special effects teams at the Mill and Millennium FX. Chibnall developed a story around this idea as, due to budget restraints, the dinosaurs couldn't be the centerpiece of the story.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh,
we have a good idea. Okay, I'll work with that, actually. Sorry, we can't do that anymore.
You're going to have to just copy and paste them from Primeval. Sorry. Okay. Can we at least make a Triceratops head? Yes, you can make the Triceratops head. Thank you.
Oh, God.
There you are.
Terrible.
As Asylum of the Daleks was a darker opener for the series, Moffat wanted the second episode to be more about fun. Moffat pitched the idea of a spaceship heading towards Earth. It certainly was. All that genocide was fun. Moffat pitched the idea of a spaceship heading towards Earth to Chris Chibnall and suggested the spaceship be Silurian. Chibnall had written The Return of the Silurians in the series 5 two-parter and felt it was a nice reveal, stating, "It shows you more about them, even in a story that isn't about them." So true, bestie.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. World building.
I just think it's neat.
In my Doctor Who, it was Chibnall's idea to include a gang of characters picked around time and space to accompany the Doctor in the episode. He said Doctor Who could have, and I quote, "collisions of characters that no other show in the world could do."
And it
Correct.
won't do it again in his run.
God damn it, I won't.
They're all from the same place.
If you have a good idea, you goddamn run with it. Don't tell them no. Nefertiti's decision not to return to her own time fits real historical records, as the date and cause of her death are still unknown to this day, which is kind of weird, but there you go. Good for her. Chibnall asked to include Rory's father in the story, as he wanted Rory's family life to be touched on before the departure of the Ponds in episode 5. What a choice. Oh, Brian.
It certainly was.
Rupert Graves, who plays Riddell, had previously worked with Moffat playing Lestrade in Sherlock. This was peak Sherlock time at this point. So
it certainly was.
Super Who-Lock was everywhere in 2012.
Oh, it certainly was.
Oh,
what
boy.
Time.
And which show's still going of those three? The Superior one.
In theory, Sherlock is yet to be cancelled. So
yeah, but this never coming back. And I don't really want it to, because Series 4 was bad.
Hey, the last episode of Series 4 was bad.
True. But so bad, I'm happy it doesn't return.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, Solomon was modelled on a well-known nightclub owner with long hair, is the quote. And I assume they just don't want to get sued, so I didn't say exactly who it was. But
no,
that guy's probably bad. So
yeah,
there you go. Stay away from nightclub owners with long hair, everyone. And that's probably every nightclub owner. It just seems like a thing.
That's fair. Yeah.
Richard Hope, who played the Silurian in the episode, previously appeared as Malekith the Silurian in The Hungry Earth, Cold Blood, and The Wedding of River Song. So he's still getting that sweet, sweet money.
He certainly is.
At first, I thought it was the guy who played Eldane in the Silurian two-parter, but he died. So it wasn't him, and that made me very sad. But there you go.
Wow.
And then finally, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was the second most streamed thing on BBC iPlayer in the month of September 2012. Beaten only by Asylum of the Daleks.
Nice.
So hooray. I can't believe Doctor Who just completely fell off.
It's not relevant anymore, though, is it? It was only second in the standings.
Ugh, disgusting. It's only first and second. I think it should be joint first. Cancel the show.
Yeah, definitely.
They should have exactly the same viewers week in, week out.
Exactly.
People don't go out. People don't have plans.
No, and that's why BBC iPlayer definitely exists, so that people watch it at the same time as it's live.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously. Lovely fun facts, and a little slight to the Doctor Who fans there, as always.
It's a weekly tradition by this point.
It certainly is. It certainly is. If they weren't so silly,
we wouldn't have it any other way. Would
No.
we even be Doctor Who fans if we didn't have a go at other Doctor Who fans?
No, you're not a fan of anything if you don't complain about it.
The only thing we're not doing is doing it on Twitter every week.
I don't know about you,
we are.
Yeah.
That's true. I have backed the F away from all that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I don't blame you. Cool. That's it. Out of 10, what are you giving it?
It's a 7.5 from me.
Interesting. It's a 7 from me.
Fair. I did need to go for 7 myself.
There we go. We've been so close again. You know, we've had 0.5s off again. Yeah. So close yet so far. Next week, episode 3, A Town Called Mercy.
You've got me begging you for mercy.
It certainly has some design choices.
How dare you?
I think I'm interested. I remember liking this episode, but then I also remember it lags a little bit. Like it feels like it takes a bit of time. It's more of a slow burn than this one.
Yeah.
I like how they put in so much effort to the gunslinger's costume and then no effort into the other guy's costume, except for a little bit of
Because he's a
little bit of
pathetic
artwork.
little man.
He is a pathetic little man.
Bloody Pete.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how good it is, and if it holds up to my memory, which I'm hoping it does. And I'm just excited to see more angry Matt Smith.
Oh yes.
What are you expecting?
I've always enjoyed this one as well. And I do like Doctor Who doing like a Western. It had been very, very long at that point. And I think they're due another one, quite frankly. I mean, they already knew like Matt Smith was made for like cowboy hats and stuff. So like, well, we've got to bring the Stetson back. How do we do it? They filmed it in Spain, so it's, you know, a nice change of scenery. So that's fun. And I do like the, you know, the gunslinger and like a hybrid. And you know, the moral ambiguity of like war crimes and stuff like that. In my Doctor Who, my God, politics. So yeah, I am intrigued to see how this one holds up. I don't think Amy and Rory have that much to do, really.
They're there to stop him killing the guy straight away,
Yeah,
and that's about it.
But you know, this is also very much a time where they are drifting away from this life, and they're kind of not meant for it. So I guess it's fine if they don't have that much to do, especially when the next two episodes are very much about them. So yeah, it's one of those ones, and I am intrigued to see how much I enjoy it again. I really struggled at the time to see past Pete Sutcliffe and Gavin and Stacey. Hopefully I've evolved since then, and his performance is not just Pete Sutcliffe.
It will be Pete. We'll see. That's what you'll be thinking of.
Yeah, nasty little man, Pete. But yeah, you make me sick.
Pete Diddy.
Puff Daddy. Oh my God. Lights will go. I do hope. And ignite your bones. His bones do get ignited at the end of this episode.
Yes, they certainly do.
But yeah, there's obviously like a big morally grey kind of question at the heart of this episode, and I'm excited to see how well or not well they do that. I hugely ahead of its time with actually his name's Susan, and you should respect their life choices.
Yeah. Even though it's a horse.
Even though it's a horse, how dare you? Respect its life choices.
Politics.
So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how this one holds up, because I very much enjoyed these first two, and I guess we'll have to see what happens next. But yeah, I enjoyed the Western vibe, so if nothing else, I'll have that to enjoy. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't say I remember all that much of it. So I'm excited to check it out because it is one that I'm not as familiar with, but we'll see.
Yep, I think that's fair enough. Cool. I think that'll do it for this week. We should be back next weekend, hopefully. Who knows? It's a long weekend next weekend, so we'll find out.
Depends how many drag race winners they announce during the Castle next week.
It's true. We'll see. They announced that today, so go check Doctor Who Twitter if you've not seen.
I didn't know who it was, but people are very excited, so that's fun.
Yes, and then also some people are also very annoyed, but
which is also fun.
yeah. Fun in a different way, but fun. But yes, that'll be it. We'll be back at some point with some other video, I'm sure. Goodbye.
Bye.